Hello gorgeous people, what is going on? And welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are jumping back into the analog horror series, The Silencer. I've actually made a video on this series before, and we're going over the end of the series today, so in case you haven't seen that last video, I highly recommend you go and watch that first. The link to it will be at the top of the description down below. Now just for a little recap, our main character Sofia is living her normal life until one day she feels like fingers are twisting inside of her chest. From that point on, she starts to see this mysterious creature, and she realizes that no one can hear her. Every time she tries to speak, different words are coming out of her mouth, and when she tries to move or do something, her body reacts differently. Eventually, her brother Julio comes to visit, and we learn that he's experiencing the same thing, except that Julio's been experiencing this since he was a child when he experienced his father's death. Julio then reveals to Sofia a temporary solution to the problem: the use of drugs and alcohol. When under the influence, they're able to communicate with each other, and they realize that they need to fight this creature, the Silencer, together. So they leave and they go to find another group of people that is also dealing with the Silencer, and hopefully now they could find a way to defeat this thing. Now recently, you might have noticed that the Silencer released their last video and my name was under it as a collaborator. I didn't work on this directly at all. I don't want you guys thinking that I was the creator of it or that I had any involvement in actually making it, but I will speak on that more towards the end of the video, why I was involved in the collaboration. And I also want to tell you guys that before we jump in, this series is about suicide prevention, with the goal of encouraging people who are silently suffering to ask for help. What we're about to watch today is going to cover some very intense and heavy topics, such as suicide, self-harm, and more. If this is something that bothers you deeply, I recommend maybe skipping out on this video, but I just want to warn you guys before we jumped in. This series means a lot to me, and I think that you guys will understand that more towards the end of this, but I have a lot to say on this one. But alright guys, either way, I do hope that you enjoy the video overall. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Video 4, The Silencer Phenomenon. Last thing I want to say before we hop in, we are picking up from the middle of this story. If you haven't seen The Silencer up until this point, or you haven't seen my last video going over this series, please go check them out. The links will be in the description down below, but you're going to need context for this, or else you're just going to be incredibly confused as to what's going on here. I will say, I have seen this before. Like I said earlier, I was a collaborator on this post, but I do want to go through it again to explain some things to you guys, to talk about some things. Another thing I want to say separately from that is there is a scene in this that is, not something that we usually go over in these types of videos or that we usually touch on. I know my audience, and I know you guys can be sometimes a little childish with things, and that's fine and all and stuff. But I hope that you're gonna look at the scene that happens in this with some maturity and some understanding, because these are serious topics that we're talking about today. Okay, we're not talking about the alien lizard from space that came to eat your home. These are serious things, so that's just all I want to say before we jumped in. When we're high, we can hear each other. It'll be back soon. We need to go. The show was good last night. Sofia? Are you home? What's happening? Oh, sorry. I messed up the voice. Voice acting in real time is a little hard, What's happening? We have to join the others. The others? My name is Emily. No one can hear me. I'll be back soon, Mom. Mauricio. Think of your brother. It has Mauricio now. Hey, I'm Sofia. There it is. It's coming. Listen, listen. Hey, you okay? Yeah. Please. Okay. I'm going to be pausing still just to explain some things. So this person up here is Mauricio. In the last video, we did see Mauricio's story, and we did see that he does become another victim to the silencer. And because he becomes another victim to the silencer, he ends up essentially giving the silencer to his brother, which is also why Emily says here, think of your brother, because obviously Mauricio's death is going to affect his brother greatly and also give him the silencer. We also see during this section of the video that this is Vicente waking up, Sofia's husband, who he notices that Sofia is not home and looks like that she left in a bit of a rush. So it's interesting to see his perspective, because he is the only person not dealing with anything in this series. Sofia and her brother Julio are the ones going through it, and Sofia can't even convey these feelings to her own husband. So it's just interesting to see his perspective and how, she's just vanished now. Like, where did she go? Like, what is he thinking during all this? And also, this is the group that they were meeting up with at the end of the last video that I made. A group of all different people that are dealing with the silencer and trying to fight against it together. Now, as you saw from Emily's perspective here, she is seeing the silencer right here. And as usual, to everyone else, she seems completely fine and happy. Just like how she responds to Sofia here, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine." Meanwhile, in her head, she's getting dragged away by the silencer. But we're about to learn another way that you could beat the silencer. Right now, we know that there's drugs and alcohol that you can use to beat the silencer, but there is another way. There's another way to keep it away. Given that it shows the ring, it seems like she might be married. Why is this happening? It took Dad first. Dad? Dad? What are you doing? It's such a nice evening. If you let it take you, it takes the person who loves you most. Then why me? I found Julio just in time. There's no way to beat it. We can only last a little longer. Until it takes us forever. I won't let that happen, Julio. We're going to face it. Sofia, that was so dumb. Okay, so there's a lot right there. So this scene here is showing us that there is another way to combat the silencer. Again, the silencer is supposed to, represent the idea of suicidal thoughts and depression, and ways that people use to combat this, like coping ways, is obviously like drugs and alcohol, like we've discussed before, but also all different forms of pleasure, really. Usually it's like temporary pleasure, which again falls into drugs and alcohol. But as you can see, sexual pleasure applies to this as well. And it's quite sad seeing it in this version of the story. I do believe when Emily shows her hand there, that showing the ring on the finger, it is on the middle finger, which makes me think, I do believe that that's supposed to imply that she's married and having to do this just to keep the silencer away so that she doesn't die. Because obviously the way that they're depicting it here is that if you're just alone with the silencer for too long, it could end up killing you, same as it did to Mauricio in the previous video. So it is sad to show that she's married here and it's, you know, she's caused to do this. We also now see the backstory with the dad and how he truly died and how he was someone that was experiencing the silencer as well and ended himself right in front of Julio, which is why Julio also has to deal with the silencer. And we also learned that Julio was very close to being another victim of the silencer as well. And maybe that's why it ended up attacking Sofia. Even though Julio survived, it does seem that it still jumped to Sofia as well. I also just want to explain the scene here because this confused me a little bit the first time I watched it. This drawer is filled with the drugs and some of the things that they can use to combat against the silencer to basically shut it up so that they can talk to each other. And Sofia decides that, you know, this isn't a good way to cope with it. We can't do this forever. We need to face it together. So she gets rid of that, and now all of these people here are forced to deal with the silencer directly. But obviously this is incredibly risky because, as we know, without drugs and alcohol and certain things, they can't directly communicate with each other. Sofia, that was so dumb. It's saying something. Let's get close and listen. It might tell us how to beat it. We can't let it take anyone else. Tommy? You weren't supposed to be. Go away. Emily. It's such a nice morning. It'll only get worse. Mom's better off without me. Where are you, baby? Okay, this scene to an extent even confuses me a little bit in some parts. So obviously right here, they're in agreement that they really are just have no choice but to face it now. And you could see that the first person to succumb to the fear of the silencer is Tommy. We see that Tommy tries to help himself so that he doesn't have to deal with the silencer, so that he doesn't have to face it, probably out of fear. And he asks Emily to help him. And as we can see, Emily is far through the silencer process. In the last video, when we saw Mauricio's perspective, we also saw this thing right before Mauricio passed away. And this is another sign that Emily has been sitting there in silence, dealing with the silencer head on, and she is about to end herself as well. We then see this scene with all the characters kind of jumping. Mom's better off without me. Looks like people are getting hit with the axe. And then we see the silencer and we see Emily's mother, who she was referring to. And you could see that it looks like that Emily's mother has the other half of the necklace that Emily's wearing. And this is a sign that the silencer is taking someone. So Emily has ended herself. And now the silencer is going to target her mother. Now, it looks like that this other character, who we didn't really get their name, is dead, and even Sofia is injured in this. It seems like Emily was trying to end herself, and it looks like others got hurt in the process here. But then someone else comes in here at the end. It looks like they're taking Julio, and it's someone in a robe. And Tommy is the only one to witness this. I guess Tommy survived the event with no injuries. But let's see where this goes out. We're pretty much approaching the end now. Sofia, can you hear me? What? We're back? I got us out of there. Julio, where is he? Here, have some more. No, it has Julio. I need to face it and find him. You don't know how bad it gets. It won't get better. I shouldn't have thrown everything out. What are you saying? He's gone forever. It'll only get worse. What? I did this to Julio. No! He's better off without me. Is that you? I hope you feel just like your father. What? You sure, Sofia? Hurry, he'll be home soon. No, get off. Tommy, don't! Tommy, don't! Sofia, you home? We have reservations. Where were you yesterday? Vicente, get in here! No, don't come in. Are you okay? Vicente, Vicente! Vicente! Yeah, I'm fine. I have someone over. She heard us. She might be the one. My name is Sofia. It'll only get worse. It was my fault. He's better off without me. Come back. He's gone because of me. Okay, I'm gonna explain what happened there at the end, just because I do think it can be a little complex or maybe misunderstood. But we see that Tommy has brought Sofia back to her apartment. Sofia realizes that Julio's no longer with them. She thinks that the silencer took him. She's realizing that it was a bad idea to throw out the drugs because it's not getting better. There is no way to simply just confront the silencer. But she does it here anyway. The silencer literally comes in, sits down next to her, and she throws the hoodie over it. And the silencer the silencer is always speaking. It's always whispering. And in my opinion, or my understanding of it, is the silencer might be saying, you know, these horrible thoughts that you have when you have depression or when you have suicidal thoughts. Like, it's saying those thoughts, and that's why it's trying to get into your head. And if you listen to it too much, it gets to the point where you would end yourself. So I believe that's what it's saying. But you could see here during this conversation that she has with the silencer, her voice is being manipulated. For example, she's trying to talk to the silencer directly, but instead, he's gone forever. It'll only get worse. And she's like, what? I did this to Julio. No. He was better off without me. Is that you? See, it's her voice coming out, but it's really the silencer that's saying it. Sofia doesn't actually believe those things deep down. She doesn't think that it was her fault for what happened to Julio. But the silencer is trying to put these thoughts in her head to make her think that that is the truth. I think this is a really cool shot because I feel like this is the first time that we actually get to see the silencer's eyeball. Usually its face isn't that close that we get to see it so detailed. But you could see that it's like, has these lifeless eyes that are looking directly at her while smiling. In a way to end the season off, we get this really disturbing interaction where the silencer manipulates her again. We know that people that are dealing with the silencer, they're trying to say and do things, but their actual bodies are not doing those things. And in this case, the silencer manipulates Sofia into coming on to Tommy, and Tommy thinks it's okay because he thinks it's the real Sofia talking to him. But really, it's the silencer manipulating Sofia there. This ends in a terrible situation where her husband, Vicente, comes home and the door is closed. And I mean, it looks like that she's cheating on him. But obviously, he doesn't know about the silencer. He doesn't know about these thoughts that she's having, all these other things. So it just looks like he's cheating on her. And he's obviously upset by that. I mean, he came home with flowers. They were supposed to have a reservation tonight. It is really, really, I mean, this series as a whole, the dark things in it are just so horrible. They're the worst situations, the saddest and darkest things to deal with. And it's just such a cold way to end it off with essentially ruining her life, really. I mean, dealing with the silencer is obviously a whole thing, but now her husband is thinking these other things. Her brother is somewhere else entirely, which we'll get into that now. This part confuses me quite a lot. And maybe if you guys have any thoughts or ideas, you can let me know in the comments. But it looks like Julio was captured here. And he's in the back of some car. There are these guys in robes saying, "She heard us. She might be the one." I'm not sure what they mean by that. She heard us. I don't quite understand that. They do seem like maybe some kind of cult that's like worshiping the silencer in a way somehow. I don't know. And then we see them bow here against a wall. It's again like, it's very hard for me to interpret this or understand what's going on here. And then, of course, at the absolute end, we get this scene here with Mauricio's brother, who is now also being infected by the silencer. Now, overall, just to wrap up like my explanation and thoughts on the story, I don't know if this is going to be the end of the silencer entirely. Maybe this could be the end of like part 1 of it, because that like cult or group of people introduction at the end there makes it seem like that there's going to be more to this. But also, I think you could end it here, and it would be fine to end it on that note, like understanding the silencer and seeing people deal with this situation that almost feels hopeless. But to get into the deeper meaning, again, to just recap the whole series here, really, the silencer is a representation of suicidal thoughts and depression. And it's passed from one person to another when someone experiences someone they know committing suicide. Experiencing the silencer involves not being able to communicate. You know, you're trying to say things, but what's really coming out of your mouth is not what you're trying to say. Your actions, you're trying to call for help, but your body doesn't actually do that. And we see that in the series where Sofia's first experiencing this. She can't communicate with her husband Vicente, so at one point she tries to write on the wall, but then the writing disappears because her body didn't actually do that. She tries to throw a dish on the floor to break it to get Vicente's attention. The dish magically appears on the counter again. Again, this is a way of showing like when people deal with depression and these suicidal thoughts, they have all these things that they need to get out and that they should get out, but they can't, or they struggle to a lot. In the series, the way that the silencer is dealt with is with drugs, alcohol, and just pleasure as a whole. Sure, this can stop the silencer or shut it up for a little bit, but it's not a permanent solution. It's a temporary solution, and a really bad one. Obviously, I've talked about in the last video how, you know, drugs and alcohol, that's a slippery slope. It leads to addiction, could lead to, you know, extremely unhealthy things happening in your life, perhaps even worsening your depression or your suicidal thoughts. And obviously the pleasure with, you know, intimacy and things like that, it's only a temporary solution to the problem. You know, it may help you out in that moment, but it's not helping you out long term. I think it's quite obvious that works like this don't come around often. We obviously cover some serious topics here and there from time to time. Covering suicidal thoughts and depression on this deep of a scale, I don't think we've ever done before. Recently, the creator of The Silencer, this series that we've watched, came into contact with me over email and told me about the finale here that they were releasing. You know, how they would like my help to collaborate on the video, to try to just share it to more people. because you guys showed so much love on the last video that I made. We thought that if we collaborated on it, it could help push out the video to a lot more people. So I didn't work on this at all. My only job on this video was to help try to push it out to more people. I hope it did that. But I, of course, obviously want to help analog horror creators in any way that I can, but especially with a story that is covering suicide prevention and depression and trying to encourage people to speak out more. I obviously want to, push that story out to as many people as possible. If you are someone dealing with depression or suicidal thoughts, I encourage you to speak to someone. You may think that people won't care. You may think that you're just bothering people, but you're not. There are people in your life that love you and care about you, and they want you here. And talking to them, I'm sure, can help you a lot. And I've spoken about this topic before at certain times, and people will often say that there's nobody that they think that they could speak to, nobody that will be able to comfort them or help them with their feelings or even listen to them in general. There are a lot of resources that you can also find. I will try to leave them in the description down below if you need them. Obviously, there is the phone number that you can call, but there are also resources in the world around you if you can't find someone close to you to speak to. I know there's a lot of universities and schools with counselors and people that you could speak to. There's group counseling, obviously solo counseling. There may be more resources than you even realize. So I highly recommend that you look into it. And if you are someone dealing with this, please go to the links in the description down below. I will try to help the best that I can. Obviously, the links that I might be able to provide might be country dependent, but I can assure you that there are a lot more resources now than there ever have been. And I highly recommend taking advantage of them when you can. As someone that has self-harmed before and known a lot of other people that have self-harmed, I encourage you to speak out and to speak to people and to try to get these feelings out as much as you can. No matter how silly, no matter how much you think you're going to bother someone, speaking to someone is the best thing to do. And I know it's hard. I know it's not easy. Try your best to do so. And like I said, if there is nobody in your life that you think would actually listen or that would care, there are resources that can be used to help you. I have a sweatshirt that I wear all the time. You guys might have seen it around, but it says on the front of it, "The world is a better place with you in it." And I love wearing that sweatshirt because I think people see it and I don't even need to say it for them to know it. But I'm saying it to you now. If you're someone dealing with these things, the world is a better place with you in it. And you may not think so, but it is. Maybe you think that people aren't around to care about you right now. People don't actually care. But even if there aren't, there will be. And I encourage you to keep going and to keep fighting and to do your best to help yourself when dealing with these issues. This is obviously a very tough topic, very heavy, and I am not the best expert on it, but I hope that the things I've said to you today can help you. The reason why I even want to show you guys this series in the first place was because it covers this issue. I wanted to be a part of spreading that message and to help spread it out more. Another huge thing, thanks to you guys and, you showing your interest in the silencer in the first place and, everything about it. Not only is this being a YouTube series, but it's also being turned into a feature film. After speaking to the creator, I was told about this and, we may even be able to get some behind the scenes looks on that in the future, but that is thanks to you guys. That is thanks to you guys showing support for this series, showing love to it, and just showing an interest. And I think that really goes to show just how much these videos do for these creators, and that you supporting these things actually does something. This is now getting turned into a feature film, which can hopefully be shown to even more people than these YouTube videos have, and hopefully have even more of an impact and help people speak up even more about these issues. So thank you guys for that. It really is incredible to see that you guys helped with something as incredible as that. Obviously, more details to come when that does come. But again, if you'd like to go support the creator, the link to the silencer will be at the top of the description down below. Please be sure to go and support your analog horror content creators. And also, big shout out to Dr. Nowhere for doing the thumbnail on this video. I got nothing to say. Dr. Nowhere is incredible. Link also in the description down below. You guys know who he is by now. And again, all resources that I could find will be in the description down below as well. If you guys did like this video, please don't forget to drop a like on it. And of course, I would love your thoughts and opinions and everything in the comments down below. I'd love to start a conversation. Or if you're someone dealing with these things and you know of ways to help alleviate these things, please help other people in the comments down below as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are absolutely incredible. I wish you all the best, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.